Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lords of the Night. With me, as always, your Lord of Punishment. Say hello, Scribe.
Hello, Scribe.
And your Lord of Pennies is here as well. Say hello, Satsu.
Hello, Satsu.
I'm your Lord of Pain, the Ranting Monkey, and we have a wonderful show for you because that's what we do here. We provide wonderful shows. Chad, I hope you're all well. Gentlemen, how are you? Satsu, how are you today?
I am good. I had a good day. Nothing bad happened.
Beautiful. And Scribe, how are you?
Well, I'm doing fine, Monkey. How are you?
Oh, man, I went out with Lady Monkey.
On a date?
Well, kind of. We had last minute Christmas shopping to do. Just the final stuff and getting the stuff for Christmas dinner. And we almost got killed by old people repeatedly on the trip down there. Okay, so we get behind this one old lady, and she is swerving all the fuck over the road. And we finally it separates from one lane into two lanes, so we get to go past her. And I look over, and she's on a cell phone, and she's got papers she's shuffling through on her steering wheel. And the lady had to be like 90. I'm like, you shouldn't even be driving, much less driving like that on the phone. What the fuck? Yeah, just old people everywhere today. And that was not fun, but I had a good time out with her. But as I said, I overdid it yesterday, and I'm hurting today. But this is a good thing. I need more exercise in my life. So I'm trying not to whine about it. I'm trying to make the best of it. Yeah, that was my day. Trying not to get killed by old people. But we went to Walmart where I used to work, and one of my best friends from there, an older lady who used to always bake for me, happened to have baked cookies. And she sent me home with a bunch of cookies. I'm like, oh,
Cookie!
I love cookies, man.
Cookie!
Cookies is why I have diabetes. Cookies and candy and sweets. Just guys, we are playing 7 Days to Die open server after this. However, if you played with us last week, everything we did last week is gone because they had 3 updates. Make sure you're updated before you try to play with us tonight. Otherwise, you won't be able to get in. You'll have to update anyway. So anything else we need to talk about before we get into the news?
Yes.
Nah, bruh.
No, that's not something we have to talk about. That's something we have to say, Scribe. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Captain Jack. Dance, monkey, dance. I will do my best, man. But it's going to be one cripple-looking dance tonight, man.
It shouldn't be dance, magic dance, jump, magic jump.
What is that?
It's Labyrinth. What the hell's wrong with you?
Dance, monkey, dance is me, though.
Well,
Why are you trying to make this? Why are you trying to make this about other things?
I'm trying to make it about David Bowie. Sorry, David Bowie's greater than Ranting Monkey.
I don't think so. Thank you, Cryptic. What did one penny say to the other penny? We make 2 cents. I think that's a Satsu joke right there.
Yeah.
Monkey Dick.
It's terrible.
Monkey Dick Jim Jones movies, video games. Hit that like button, you guys. You guys are better than my morning audience. I feel like they don't have caffeine in their system yet, and they never give me likes, but you guys do because you're awesome. And that's why I love you. And share our stuff far and wide with everybody you know. Print up business cards, leave them, pass them out to everyone you meet, because that's a nice thing to do for people. That's like Christmas all year round if you do that all year round. Scribbles, what do you got for news tonight?
Stuff.
All right.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you guys like war?
Not especially.
Well, then you're in
Shadow
luck
War?
because we're withdrawing from Syria.
Yeah, I saw that.
In Syria withdrawal, Trump this is some commentary / analysis here, but anyway, yay, CNN politics. In Syria withdrawal, Trump discards advice from allies and officials.
Real quick, thank you, Connor. Are any of you fans of the Electric Light Orchestra? Not really.
I am a fan of the Electric Street Parade at Disneyland.
I don't think that's the same thing.
I don't care. Oh,
All right.
Satsu.
I'm just a fan of being electrocuted.
Okay. Seated at the, you would really like the movie Wes Craven's Shocker then. Just so you know.
That movie was so bad.
It was so bad, but Mitch Pileggi before he was on X-Files. Yeah, so Satsu, look that up sometime. If you liked Tales from the Hood 2, you're gonna love Wes Craven's Shocker.
You still ain't watched Tales from the Hood 2. So.
It's true, and there's a reason. Seated at the head of his Situation Room conference table, President Donald Trump was adamant American troops must come home from Syria. He had just announced as much to a crowd in Ohio. The assembled military and national security advisors told him the move was rash and unwise, so he gave them 6 months. 8 months later, planning for the withdrawal is now underway, against the advice of those same officials who warned in April that Russia and Iran would gain stronger footholds in Syria when the U.S. presence there evaporates. On Capitol Hill, even some of Trump's GOP allies were warning of a grave mistake. Quote, my sense is that it's been a shock through the administration that this was made. Well, okay, Senate Foreign Relations Chairman Bob Corker told reporters on Wednesday after returning from the White House where he had traveled to meet with Trump, but was told as he waited the meeting was canceled. Quote, it's hard to imagine that any president would wake up and make this kind of decision with this little communication, with this little preparation, Corker said. I mean, my understanding is that we're beginning to move out right now. I thought he gave them 8 months.
Right.
Okay, you want to call it a bad decision, but no communication.
Well, hold on. He gave them 6 months.
Well, yeah.
And
so
it was 8 months later.
well, that's what I mean. It's like they had 8 months. So I don't understand what they mean by little preparation or communication. They knew this was coming. You can debate as to whether or not it's a good idea, but it wasn't like he was just sprung it on him. Hurried discussions continued Wednesday about the timing and pace of the troop. Why are you guys all acting like this is some kind of ambush? 8 months warning? Come on. Are you just lazy? You didn't talk about this before it happened? I mean, what were you thinking? He was just going to not do it? Has Trump not attempted to do everything he said he would do at this stage of the game, whether he's been successful or not? But
well, they know their readers are going to ignore that part.
I guess. The announcement lacked the form. Sorry?
No.
Go ahead. No. You go ahead. Go ahead.
I was about to say they mentioned it and then just pretended like they didn't mention it because they know that their readers are going to ignore that fact.
Yeah, this is CNN like contradicts itself. Well, I mean, Corker said what he said, but all the same, I wonder if they're going to point out the fact that they had 8 months to figure it out. The announcement lacked the formality of previous presidents' declarations that they would remove troops from war zones. Well, this is Trump. The White House did not schedule any presidential remarks nor provide any concrete details of the decision. Trump issued his first public comments on the decision Wednesday evening in a video message posted to Twitter in which he pointed to the sky to reference U.S. military personnel who have been killed in Syria. Quote, we have won against ISIS, Trump said. We've beaten them, and we've beaten them badly. We've taken back the land, and now it's time for our troops to come back home. Ow, what the hell was that?
That was the room to my door closing, or the door to my room closing, sorry. Cryptic, thank you. Mustangs are more than I can afford. Yeah, keep going. I'm sorry.
I get very saddened when I have to write letters or call parents or wives or husbands of soldiers who have been killed fighting for our country. He added later, so our boys, our young women, our men, not our young women? Uh-oh. They're all coming back, and they're coming back now. We won, and that's the way we want it. Trump then pointed to the sky and said, and that's the way they want it.
Okay.
Is ISIS gone?
Not really. I have one more super chat. Let me get this real quick. It had flown past. Captain Jack, thank you. Can alligators eat your kids? Yes. Okay. I saw Lindsey Graham tweet about this, and He was like, we haven't beaten ISIS in Iraq, in Syria. He named one other place, and he said, and we sure as hell haven't beat him in Afghanistan. So from what Lindsay's saying, we haven't beat him anywhere, but I don't know. I don't know. Trump seems to think we did.
I mean, I'm confused about the whole thing. Syria, of all the places that we were going to pull out of, why Syria? Why not Afghanistan? Why not someplace we've been in for like 20 years now or whatever?
Honestly, because the only reason we really got into Syria was nonsense politics. Of all the ones for us to drop out of, that's the one that makes the most sense. I mean, we're still fighting ISIS, definitely in Afghanistan.
Yeah, but taken back the land, but now you're going to give it back to what the dictator that runs Syria to begin with. So
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a good answer.
Yeah.
I'm just saying of all of the places we could pull out of, that's the one that makes the most sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially if you look at it from a frame of what did we fuck up?
Well,
that's somebody else's fuck up.
Yeah, the two big contradictions that I hear: A, the claim that we've defeated ISIS there, which is probably bullshit, and B, that everybody's acting like this is some big surprise if there was 8 months warning that it was coming, with an official 6 months warning that it was coming. So this is just a mess. And without any details about how they're going to do it, or like just up and leave. I mean, when I think about an up and leave strategy, I think about Iraq. We're just going to up and leave.
Yeah.
And once you leave that vacuum there, well, unless Syria is going to suddenly secure all the territory themselves that we just secured, then people you don't want are going to take it over again.
Oh, didn't they say Russia and some other place was going to increase their foothold there? It didn't seem like they were worried about like Syria taking the land back. They were just like, other countries are going to have more of a presence there than us.
Well, Russia and Iran will lend their support to Syria to take up the slack for what we leave behind, and then that makes Syria. Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Which is funny because we haven't been working with them in Syria. We've been working against the Russians and Iranians in Syria. So for them to take up the slack is just, I mean, silly. Do you get what I'm saying? Because we weren't there helping the Syrian government. That's who the Russians and the Iranians have been helping.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Cryptic. Want to hear a feminist joke? Me too. And Captain Jack, thank you. Just want to tell you my real name is Ranting Monkey. You have a weird mom.
Okay. The other thing that I heard on the radio was that our extraction so quickly is being seen as a betrayal by, I believe they said, the Kurdish forces in the area who were supposedly we were supporting against Assad, and now we're just kind of leaving them in a lurch, which is kind of what we did after the first Gulf War. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm not saying that staying in Syria was some, ideal situation, but I don't know that this is going to not just cause problems in the future, bigger than if we just sat. But I don't know.
Us leaving probably will just let Assad and the Russians roll over whatever resistance is there.
Yep.
The only reason they haven't is because we're there.
Yep. So anyway, that happened. Let's see. So in more evidence that our country is a white supremacist nation, the Senate passes a bill making lynching a federal crime. That was meant to be ironic.
That's it's a trap. It's a trick.
The Senate approved a bill on Wednesday that would make lynching a federal crime after more than a century of such attempts to outlaw the act. The Justice for Victims of Lynching Act, which passed unanimously, was introduced earlier this year by the chamber's 3 African-American senators, California Democratic Senator Kamala Harris, New Jersey Democratic Senator Cory Booker, and South Carolina Republican Senator Tim Scott. The proposal outlines the specific act of lynching, aka a mob killing without legal authority, and would add lynching to the federal list of hate crimes. Harris touted the vote on Twitter, calling the moment history. Okay. The bill describes lynching as, quote, the ultimate expression of racism in the United States following Reconstruction, and counts 4,742 overwhelmingly African-American victims reported from 1882 to 1968. It notes further that some 200 anti-lynching bills had been brought before Congress, and 99%, quote, of all perpetrators of lynching escaped from punishment by state or local officials, unquote. Quote, today we have righted that wrong and taken corrective action that recognizes this stain on our country's history, Booker said in a statement following the vote. Mississippi GOP Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith presided over the session, in a position some noted with irony due to a comment she made about attending a public hanging. Oh, God.
That's not a
lynching. That's not a lynching. Public hanging.
They literally gave the definition.
I know.
In this article.
We used to have public hangings as public executions as criminal justice. Whether you like it or not, we did do that, and we didn't just do it to black people. There were lots of think about the Confederate soldiers that got hung by the North and vice versa. I mean, it happened. And those aren't considered lynchings. They were considered criminal justice at that time. And again, in the same thing, you just said what a lynching is defined as. A mob killing without legal authority. There were public hangings with legal authority. Anyway. Yeah, so that happened.
Well then. Somebody in chat asked it, and I was wondering that too. When was the last lynching that we had?
Well, if it's a mob killing, well, they said up through 1968, so I would assume sometime around 1968 is the last recorded incident of a official lynching. Although there are some instances that I would consider kind of lynching situations. Remember, was it Bird? The guy's last name was Bird, and he was dragged behind a truck by a couple of guys years and years ago.
Yes, yep.
Remember that? Now, you see, despite the fact that I think it was just two or three guys in a truck, I would kind of consider that a lynching, given that it was racially motivated and a ridiculously horrific way to, well, not that there's a gentle ways to kill someone, but you know what I mean.
Didn't those guys end up with the death penalty?
I think so. I don't know.
But what I'm getting at is, I understand. Yes, we need to make lynching a crime, fine, but isn't murdering somebody a crime anyway?
James Byrd Jr., that was his name.
Yeah.
Let's see there. One of the guys was killed via lethal injection. The other guys are one of the other guys is on death row, and the third guy has got life imprisonment.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, like I said, that's not considered a lynching apparently, but I would consider it such, just personally. But yeah, I guess the last one was 1968. But if that's the last time it was recorded happening, it's not a very frequent occurrence. So this is kind of a retroactive apology or something. I don't know. I mean, I'm not against it. It's just kind of weird.
In other words, in the spirit of 2018, the good people we know who are known for this are once again doing something that helps no one.
Yes.
And celebrating it.
Look how good we are.
Look at this amazing thing we did that affects literally no one. But we did it.
Well, if Trump signs it into law, then what does that say about him being a totes racist, Joe?
Well, I mean, that just means he will go to great lengths to cover up his blatant racism.
Right.
Cryptic, thank you. When elder people use computers, it's called Elder Scrolls.
Yikes.
Moving on. Speaking of injustices gone unpunished, Illinois Attorney General says Catholic Church failed to disclose abuse accusations against 500 priests and clergy.
All right.
I'm not surprised by this, but still 500. In yet another blow to the Catholic Church in the United States, Illinois Attorney General Illinois Attorney General, says the state's 6 dioceses have failed to disclose accusations of sexual abuse against at least 500 priests and clergy members. Illinois' dioceses have released lists publicly identifying 185 clergy members who had been credibly accused of child sex abuse. But State Attorney General Lisa Madigan said preliminary findings on her ongoing investigation revealed that the church failed to disclose sexual abuse allegations against at least 500 additional priests and clergy members. How many times are you going to say that same line? Did it 3 times before? Okay. In many cases, the accusations have, quote, not been adequately investigated by the diocese or not investigated at all, Madigan's office said in a statement Wednesday. What's more, the statement added, the church often failed to notify law enforcement authorities or State Department of Children and Family Services about the allegations. Well, did the alleged victims alert the authorities? I mean, maybe I'm missing something here. Quote, by choosing not to thoroughly investigate allegations, the Catholic Church has failed in its moral obligation to provide survivors, parishioners, and the public a complete and accurate accounting of all sexually inappropriate behavior involving priests in Illinois, Madigan said in the statement. The failure to investigate also means that the Catholic Church has never made an effort to determine whether the conduct of the accused priests was ignored or covered up by supervisors. This is one of those situations where I have the same kind of vibe from like telling the college that someone raped me. It's like, no, you go to the cops. Why would you just tell the church and then go home? I'm not going to claim I understand it, but I don't understand it.
Okay.
Hello?
I'm here.
Oh, you guys were so quiet. I thought something happened.
No, it's another one of those where I don't know what to say.
Oh boy. I mean, this has been going on for so long and at such a very high and alarming rate. Like, when the fuck is something actually going to be done about it?
Well, what should happen, in my opinion, and I know this is kind of probably a drastic measure, but at this point, the Catholic Church, individual dioceses or otherwise, should be brought up on RICO charges. I mean, it's a private institution that is amounted to a criminal conspiracy to cover up and perpetuate crimes against other people. I don't see how RICO or something similar to it could not be construed to apply to this situation, because just because they're the Catholic Church doesn't make them indemnified from criminal prosecution. But yet, except in individual priest cases, which have been prosecuted to a certain extent, many have not, the Catholic Church as an institution has not been criminally held liable for this, even though it's plainly obvious they are at this point, and for some time now, a criminal conspiracy to cover up child sexual abuse. I don't understand how, if it was any other institution, you know, if you said Amazon.com had a conspiracy to cover up 500 employees' rapes or something, Amazon would be sued into the ground within a week. But the Catholic Church, nothing. I don't understand. I really don't.
Yeah, there needs to be some type of sanitization.
Just because it's a church should not make them somehow immune from the blatantly plain fact that they have given cover and covered up horrible monsters for years. 500 different people. Think of any other public institution that would do something like that, and tell me that it makes any sense to just sort of like shrug your shoulders and just hope for individual prosecutions to go through. Well, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and as somebody said in the chat, 500 is probably just what they know about.
Yeah, and just within like our lifetime, basically. If you think about how long the Diocese of Illinois has been there, or anywhere in the country where there's a major church or just some church. There was a story I read just the other day that I think it was in Alaska or something, they sent a whole bunch of priests who'd been accused of similar things to go live in at some college in like Idaho or something for the rest of their lives. never being touched or prosecuted, and the college didn't even know that they had priests on their campus who were accused of sexual abuse.
I don't understand. You mentioned it a few minutes ago. Why aren't they going to the police? Why are they going to the church?
Yeah,
over
but like
this?
the church didn't investigate this. Why would you expect the church to investigate themselves? Well, that's not that. That's exactly the wrong thing. It's like the fox in investigating the chicken coop. What the fuck? It's like we're holding the church responsible for not investigating themselves. Well, okay, how about you tell the public if something happens to you in regards to the church, go to the authorities, please.
I mean, maybe it's a part of the, like part of the religious or their religion, where it's just like, you confide in the leaders of the church, whenever stuff like that happens. And
well, no, I
you're
understand
supposed to
that.
believe they're going to help you.
Yeah, I had it explained to me when in real life, not on a documentary or something. But I had a family member who was a dyed-in-the-wool Catholic. However, they had lapsed somewhat because of this kind of stuff in the last few years. And I asked them, I said, well, why is this all coming out as like this was covered up and everything else? Why didn't anybody go to the cops? And they told me it was a literal truth, more so in years before than it is now, perhaps, that the priests and the clergy were seen as quite literally above the law. They were, revered as, the direct line to God. And if you were a believing Catholic, it was very difficult to go beyond that or to make accusations, quote unquote, out of school because, they were held in such high esteem. So there was a certain amount of protection that religious faith provided these guys. So to that extent, in cases that maybe were, dozens of years old now, I could maybe understand it. I wouldn't condone it, obviously, but I could understand it if somebody thinks that, that's their barrier. But in the last 10, 15 years since this all came about, I don't understand why anybody would keep quiet about this or rely on the Catholic Church to do something about it, given their track record of just covering everything up.
Right.
Anyway.
I have a few super chats. Thank you, Snowstorm. Can we just sentence all pedos to forever sleep? Yeah, I would not necessarily be opposed to that. Cryptic, thank you. Grass grows by the inches, but dies by the feet. And Mash, Scribe, stop pronouncing the S in Illinois.
Well, when they put an apostrophe at the end to indicate ownership of something, like Illinois' diocese, I kind of have to put that in there because that's, it's spelled with Illinois apostrophe, but it means Illinois.
Indeed.
That's why. So it's not intentional because I'm trying to mispronounce the name. It's like I'm trying to read it as best as I can, which is always a challenge. And lastly, this is out of The Guardian today. I saw Undoomed posted this, and I thought it was interesting given the main news source I go to for news every night. Der Spiegel, the German newspaper, says or magazine, says top journalist faked stories for years. Now, this is a German publication, but there is a CNN connection. The German news magazine Der Spiegel has been plunged into chaos after revealing that one of its top reporters had falsified stories over several years. The media world was stunned by the revelations that the award-winning journalist Klaus Relotius had, according to the Weekly, quote, made up stories and invented protagonists in at least 14 out of 60 articles that appeared in its print and online editions, warning that other outlets could also be affected. Relotius, 33, resigned after admitting to the scam. He had written for the magazine for 7 years and won numerous awards for his investigative journalism, including CNN Journalist of the Year in 2014.
Oh.
Ouch. Earlier this month, he won Germany's Reporter Prix, Reporter of the Year, for his story about a young Syrian boy, which the jurors praised for its lightness, poetry, and relevance. It has since emerged that all the sources for his reportage were at best hazy, and much of what he wrote was made up.
Sounds right.
Oh, fact-checking and editors. Where are they? Who cares?
Hey, they're the people of the year, that press of ours.
I know. The falsification came to light after a colleague who worked with him on a story about the U.S.-Mexican border raised suspicions about some of the details in Relocious' reporting, having harbored doubts about him for some time. The colleague, Juan Moreno, eventually tracked down two alleged sources quoted extensively by Relocious in the article, which was published in November. Both said they had never met the reporter. Relocious had also lied about seeing a hand-painted sign that read, "Mexicans keep out," a subsequent investigation found. Other fraudulent stories included one about a Yemeni prisoner in Guantanamo Bay and one about the American football star, Colin Kaepernick. I don't know, football star, but whatever. Was the fake story about Colin Kaepernick that he actually kneeled because of racial tensions?
Probably.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring that one up because it's hilarious.
The title of the stream is about the GoFundMe for the wall, guys. Have you guys seen this thing?
Yes,
No,
it's amazing.
As of 9 o'clock this morning, they'd raised $500,000. Just random people. I think it was 9,000 people had given that much money, something like that. 12 hours later, it is at $1.5 million.
Holy crap.
They've raised $1 million in a little over 12 hours. Apparently, it's finally getting some press. Let's see. Laura Ingram is going to have it on tomorrow. I just put the GoFundMe link in there. I'm not telling you to support it or not to. I'm just pointing it out. Let's see. It is 25,900 people have raised $1.5 million of a $1 billion goal. Now, the wall is supposed to have cost $5 billion, but the limit on GoFundMe, and who knew this, is $1 billion for your goal.
What's the highest GoFundMe that's ever been recorded so far? Do you know?
That I don't.
It's probably about to be this one.
Yeah.
I know that the rebooting Reading Rainbow several years ago got a whole ton of money real quick, but I don't know if that was the biggest one at the time or something else.
Yeah, but if you guys want to find out more about this, it's run by Brian Colfage, I think is how you say his name. He's a triple amputee Purple Heart winner, or well, recipient, not winner. That's just not something you win.
Yeah.
Who got kicked off Facebook for a while as part of the purge, and they had to bring him back. But yeah, he put this together, and he's serious. And yeah, basically 2.5 days, 1.5 million. That's a lot of fucking money. That is a lot of people out there who and granted, it's only 25,000 people, but that's a lot of money, or people willing to separate with their money to get the damn wall funded.
And if that hits the mainstream media, that'll take off even higher.
Yeah, like I said, it's supposed to be on Fox News tomorrow night, according to this one of the most recent updates that he's done. So, like I said, guys, if you want to read it, there you go. And is that the end of the news there, Scribbles?
That's all I had, yeah.
All right. Guys, that brings us to hashtag MSS News. Hit us up at the hashtag MSS News over on the Twitter machine if there's a story you'd like us to take a look at. We can't get to them all, but that's just because everybody's out there donating to this GoFundMe.
Very relevant, Monkey.
I do what I can. Scribbles?
Yes.
You want me to do MSS News? I can do it.
No, it's fine. I got it. All right, I was looking at a picture of Ava Green somebody posted.
Oh, I think I saw that picture.
I got distracted. Ava Green is hot. Anyway, let's see. What do we have? I got to take the search filter off because they love to do that. This one comes from Evil Clipazine. Okay. Romaine lettuce is too dangerous to be in stores, but guns are still available 24 hours per day.
Oh, God. Didn't we already?
You made a joke about this same kind of notion last night.
Yeah.
And this is a story from November 23rd. Okay, so it's not really new. It's not really a story. It's a complaint. It's the same complaint we've heard about a million other things. It's like, well, what was your Satsu had a great comparison or same analogy last night. I don't remember what it is now, but something like that. It's like, you can go buy
It was because of the cauliflower thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
something like that. Yeah, you can buy cauliflower. You can't buy cauliflower, but you can still go buy a gun.
It's so ridiculous, man. Like, no matter what it is you buy a gun for, it was made to kill people. Like that's what they're made for. Like whether it's in defense or for attack, it's meant to kill people. Lettuce is not meant to kill people. So if it's starting to, and they sell it in the store, then you probably want to get it out of there. That's the reason.
Don't be silly, Satsu.
Just like, what the fuck do you mean?
Before some gun owners come at you, you can also buy guns to kill animals.
Jesus Christ.
Or bottles.
I just want to make sure.
You can kill a lot of bottles with guns. You don't have to kill anybody. Let's see. This one comes from Chicago Mike. It's Chicago Mike. Least educated state in America. Ooh, can you guys guess?
I have it in front of me, so.
Oh, well then, Satsu, can you guess?
California.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
California, #1 in percentage of residents 25 and older who never finished 9th grade. Number 50 in high school graduates. California ranks #1 among the 50 states for the percentage of its residents 25 and older who have never completed 9th grade, and 50th for the percentage who have graduated from high school, according to new data from the Census Bureau. Texas ranks #2 for the percentage of its residents 25 and older who have never completed 9th grade, and 49th for the percentage who have graduated from high school. All right, what's the top then? All right, so the top, Wyoming, apparently. Wyoming has the lowest number of people who never finished 9th grade.
Wow.
I didn't realize there were still people who didn't finish 9th grade.
Let's see. California and Texas, while having the highest percentages of residents 25 and older who never finished 9th grade, and the lowest percentages who graduated from high school, are the nation's two most populous states. In fact, the 2,510,370 California residents 25 and older who, according to the Census Bureau, never finished 9th grade, outnumber the entire populations of 15 other states. And that's why we need to get rid of the Electoral College and just have, popular vote on everything, because California is the leader in all things that our nation should go by.
That explains so much, though.
Yeah. Okay, well, no surprise there.
By the way, I don't know if you guys talked about it or we talked about it at any point, but they failed to tax text messages.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, that fell through. Surprisingly enough. Let's see. This one comes from Frosted Glass. I saw this the other day. I didn't think it was real, but apparently it is. Disney is accused of colonialism over Hakuna Matata trademark.
Nigga.
When did Lion King come out? Like 96 or something?
Oh, God.
95, 96?
My daughter was little, so yeah, around there.
Yeah. Okay, so, so never heard anybody complain about this, but now it's a problem. More than 50,000 people, oh my God, 50,000 people on the internet have signed a petition accusing Disney of colonialism and robbery after it trademarked the Swahili phrase Hakuna Matata. The expression means no problem in Swahili, which is spoken across East Africa and is a national language of Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which it really isn't democratic, but anyway, moving on. The petition, which calls on Disney to drop its trademark, precedes the release of the company's motion capture remake of The Lion King next summer. Gee, that sounds like just an amazing coincidence, I'm sure. Which will be voiced by Beyonce, Donald Glover, and I always fuck up this guy's name, Chiwetel Ejiofor. I know I'm saying that incorrectly. I can never pronounce that correctly. The phrase was popularized in 1982 by the Kenyan band Them Mushrooms, never heard of it, whose platinum-selling single Jambo Bwana, Hello Mister, featured the phrase Hakuna Matata. It was later featured in the 1994 version of The Lion King, which spawned a hit musical and became one of Disney's most valuable franchises. The film included the song Hakuna Matata, written by Elton John and Tim Rice. Disney was granted the U.S. trademark in 2003. So you guys waited 15 years to complain about this. Okay. Shelton Mapala, who created the petition, accused the company of appropriation, which isn't a crime. Quote, Disney can't be allowed to trademark something that it didn't invent, he wrote.
Yes. But those same people are backing the people suing Epics right now. So.
Well, here's the thing. I just said the phrase, 3 or 4 times? Yes. I'm not going to be sued.
No.
And also, it doesn't prevent anybody else in the world from saying the thing either. It's just trademarked for the sake of using it on products and things, I guess. Mm-hmm. So,
which is what this guy wants to make T-shirts.
Yes, that's probably what it is. It's like, take the trademark off so we can make T-shirts and not risk any legal liability.
Real quick, thank you, Snowstorm. He kneeled to get out of his contract. Talking about Kaepernick. Yes, he did.
Well, he was, so if I remember correctly,
to get out of his contract.
Yeah, originally he was sitting down on the bench and refusing to stand for the national anthem because his team at the time was being, I assume from his perspective, wishy-washy over a contract negotiation because he made himself a free agent, which was his choice. But then, after it became pretty obvious that sitting down and throwing basically a silent tantrum over not getting more money, someone in the mix of things convinced him to brand it as a protest rather than a tantrum. And then it became a protest because the media said it was a protest. And then they ran with that, and he tried to leverage a social protest in order to get himself a better contract, or at least not to make him look like he was being a tantrum thrower.
Yeah, what he wanted was out of his contract. He wanted a free agents clause put into his contract.
That's what it was.
And finally, the Niners were like, sure, fine. And he never got, no other team would pick him up, and that's why he doesn't have a job anymore. And yeah, they're all whining because he threw this major protest. No, he was being a dick. He actually got exactly what he asked for, and it blew up in his face because by the time he decided to become a free agent, he was at best a third-string quarterback with a whole bunch of baggage nobody wanted to carry.
Yeah, now he's getting millions from Nike to be their face or whatever. So he's not suffering. Yeah, whatever.
I looked this up today. Nike is not doing very well.
No, they're not. They really aren't.
There were a couple of stories right after this. I don't remember when the Nike ad first came out. They had a almost immediate downturn. And then if you guys remember, like a week or two later, it went back up and everybody's like, see how well it's going. Nobody seems to have looked at it since because it is a shitter right now. It's not doing very well at all. And go broke. And that's what, good job, Nike. Dumbasses.
All right. This one comes from Massive Dynamics. I saw this the other day too. If the story will come up. Thank you. That was that. Female journalists and politicians received abusive, hostile tweets every 30 seconds, study says. Black women in the study were targeted 84% more often than white women. Yeah, because men never get quote-unquote abusive tweets.
I wonder if it was because those black women wake up every morning, open their Twitter and say, fuck all of you stupid fucking white people. And then all the harassment and shit comes in. And they're like, look what's happening to me. This is so horrible.
Well, here's the other thing, too. No offense to anybody else, but 9 times out of 10, I don't know what the person on the other side of a Twitter account looks like. Because they've got, some anime character or some cartoon or an animal or something there. How do you know unless they're just public figures who open themselves up to criticism in the first place? Politicians getting criticism? Journalists getting criticism? What?
We read this morning, and it gets even better than that.
Okay. Female journalists and politicians were sent abusive or otherwise hostile tweets every 30 seconds on average in a study released Tuesday by Amnesty International. For the study, Amnesty, with help from volunteers and global artificial intelligence software firm Element AI, sorted through 288,000 tweets. That's it. Sent to 778 female politicians and journalists in the UK and US last year. So you only looked at female politicians and journalists. Okay.
Yep.
They found that 7% of tweets they gathered were abusive or otherwise problematic.
Yep.
Could you make it any more ambiguous? Based on that figure, the study extrapolated.
Yep.
From 778 public figures. Do you guys even Twitter? Anyway, the study extrapolated that 7% of all the estimated 14.5 million tweets the women received, 1.1 million were abusive, hostile, or hurtful, which comes to about 1 every 30 seconds. There are 525,600 minutes in a year. Oh my God. The study also found that Black, mixed race, Asian, and Latina women were mentioned in abusive or problematic tweets 34% more often than white women, while Black women specifically were targeted 84% more often than white women. What were the races and genders of the people sending the tweets?
It doesn't say.
Oh, well then, how do you know that most of those weren't sent by other women?
And it also doesn't matter because
No.
that's inconvenient.
Real quick, let me get the super chat. Frosted Glass, thank you. Breaking: asteroid hits Earth, women most affected. Yes, indeed.
Quote, Twitter's failure to crack down on this problem means it is contributing to the silencing of already marginalized voices.
Yep.
Okay, wait. If their Twitter accounts are active, they haven't been silenced.
They don't know what silenced means. I figured this out after 2 years of this word being used incorrectly. I'm certain they have no idea what it means.
The study defined abusive tweets as those that, quote, promote violence against or threaten people based on race, gender, or other identifying factors. It classified as problematic tweets that are hurtful and hostile to a lesser degree. So you're grouping together threats of violence and hurtful into one big pool and calling it all abuse.
Well, hang on. Did you pay attention to what they just said there?
I'm trying to, but I got interrupted by somebody.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You go ahead and tell me.
Based on race, gender, or other identifying factors.
I was going to get to that part because it reminded me of when you go to Red Robin and they've got that spice thing on there and it says this thing contains paprika and other spices. Like, what? Like, you want to tell me what they are? Yeah.
By this, Satsu getting shit would be included in this.
My wearing glasses would be included in this.
I would be included in this because I'm a cripple.
Yeah.
Literally, everybody's included, but they counted it all as women.
I want to know what the percentage. So taking those two big umbrella terms, as they say, I'm curious to know of all the quote unquote abusive tweets, what percentage were threatening and what percentage were problematic. I have a feeling the problematic percentage is probably going to be far greater than actual outright threats of violence. I have a feeling. I could be wrong, but.
And the problematic thing, tweets that are hurtful and hostile to hurtful. Define hurtful for me.
No, they won't. You know, anything criticizing a journalist like, hey, your article sucks. I mean, or like you're a lousy politician. That's hurtful.
To be honest, something as simple as I disagree with your viewpoint, it could be classified as hurtful.
Yeah.
Okay. Satsu, it looks like you over-seasoned that food.
That's impossible.
But read the very next line if you haven't closed it yet.
Oh, I already closed it. Go ahead.
Oh, the study called Troll Patrol. That's all I wanted to read of it.
Oh, okay. Is that like the bully hunters?
You know what? They actually
I really want the bully hunters to come back. Yeah, I really want the bully hunters to come back. That was great. I watched that live. It was amazing.
Well, let me finish that sentence. Did not specify how many tweets among the 288,000 were problematic and how many were abusive.
Of course not. Of course they wouldn't.
But Amnesty said Twitter should do more to show the amount of hostile speech on its site.
To show it?
Yeah.
Why would you want it to be shown? Wouldn't you want it to be done away with?
Show it and work to prevent it.
Show it and work to prevent. But showing it is the problem.
This whole thing is a problem.
Amnesty International, there's some things that some things that you undertake I can kind of get behind. This one, fucking bullshit. Do a study with those same standards. Find an equal number of male politicians and journalists. And I'll tell you what, Jim Acosta alone will rack up a whole bunch of problematic tweets for you. Just from me. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. How many more do you want me to do, Monkey?
Do we have a decent list tonight?
A decent list?
Let's just do one more. We'll wrap it up there.
Okay. This one comes from Johnny Hellcat. And it's The Root. Oh boy. Yay. Michael Harriot, our friend Michael Harriot at The Root. This is a story from, or I should say it's probably a blog from November 20th, but what the heck. Americans don't disagree about what racism is. White people do.
Oh, wait. Weren't you going to read this before, but you couldn't?
Maybe.
Yeah, like you were going to open it and you're like, oh, it won't open, so fuck it. If I remember correctly.
Did I? Okay.
The title sounds familiar.
It sounds very familiar. Okay, I'll read a little bit of it. In theory, I am a Pulitzer Prize winning author. No, I did read this.
Yeah, we did. And
I did. Yes,
because he went going nowhere.
Yeah, he kept contradicting himself every 3 seconds. Okay, so sorry about that, guys. I'll pick a different one just because we'd already done that one. Okay, this one comes from Bah Humbug Melton. All right. Is this a story from today? It is a story from today. If you're using white privilege to shut people up, maybe you're the problem. Oh, okay.
That's unusual.
This is from USA Today. The way to fight identity politics isn't to embrace them yourself. Well, oh my God. Unfortunately, that lesson seems to have been lost on Julian von Abele, the Caucasian Columbia University student who shouted in a now viral video, quote, "White people are the best thing to ever happen to the world. We are so amazing," unquote. In a subsequent statement to the Daily Beast, von Abele struck a different tone, stating, "I am not a white supremacist or racist. My reaction that evening grew out of my distaste for the overuse of the term white privilege and similar divisive rhetoric as a means of dismissing views of others," unquote. Now here we go back to the author. While I decry von Abele's initial remarks, he seems to be conflating skin color with the ideological roots of Western civilization, which have nothing to do with skin color, as well as ignoring the contributions of other cultures to our modern world. I do agree that white privilege shouldn't be used to shut people up. In fact, we should be judging speech and speakers by their content, not their racial background, gender, sexual orientation, IQ, or any other host of factors. Oh my God. Yeah, let me snap to that one. Yet worryingly, we seem to be moving. Author of this article. I don't even know what you're going to say next, but just that alone tells me you're living in naive land. Yet worryingly, we seem to be moving to a world where it's your characteristics, not your thoughts, that determine whether you will be heard. Okay, this is written by Katrina Trinko. Katrina, you've been living under a rock for at least the last 10 years. At least. I mean, I'll give you since 2014, at least the last 4 years, if not the last 10 years. But the last 4 or 5 years in particular has really driven this point home. Amid the charged atmosphere of Judge Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court after Christine Blasey Ford's accusation of sexual assault, Senator Mazie Hirono, of Hawaii, said, quote, "I just want to say to the men of this country, just shut up and step up, do the right thing for a change," unquote. In that comment, Hirono implied that no man, even if he had helped prevent sexual assault, even if he had been assaulted himself, should have a voice in the Kavanaugh Ford discussions that roiled the country. And we see similar attitudes on race and sexual orientation. You're right. And you're late to the game. I hate to tell you this, but I'm glad you're here.
Can I get a super chat real fast? Diesel Dave, thank you. No, IQ should definitely be a factor. Oh, not necessarily.
Someone with a low IQ can give a great idea. I don't have to tell you.
I'm back.
And vice versa. You can have somebody with a high IQ that sounds like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
The content of your ideas and character, to measure them on their own merits. You know,
Isn't that crazy how that's like a new idea all of a sudden?
It sounds like a revelation every time I read something like this. And I appreciate the fact that, you know, whether or not this person agrees with everything I agree with, at least they're being sensible about, like, okay, let's set aside all the identity politics bullshit and just take, you know, person by person.
Sure.
But it shouldn't be a
famous
revelation.
Speech once with this in it.
No, Monkey. That's ancient history. And you bringing that up, is covering up your white privilege.
Oh.
You are, and you're also you're just trying to apologize for your white guilt.
Mm.
I don't know how that works, but I've been told that's how it is. So
I'm a bastard.
Anyway, that's all for me for now.
Oh God. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Welcome to the game, lady. But where the hell have you been? Because I looked her up, and judging by her picture, I couldn't find her age.
Mm-hmm.
Judging by her picture, she's at least getting close to 40.
Oh, Jesus.
What the hell do you mean? We seem to be getting there. What the fuck are you talking about?
You have not been paying attention. I don't know what to tell you.
That brings us. That coming right after the Harriet article that we've read before. It's wake the fuck up, people. Jesus Christ. Satsu, what'd you do on YouTube today?
I fell asleep and dreamed that I did a bunch of shit.
Oh,
that's one way to feel good about yourself.
and woke up and felt accomplished as fuck.
How are the views doing on that dream?
Well,
beautiful.
So far, I got one confirmed.
Let's see. I did my morning stream, which YouTube completely fucked up on me. We actually had to stop it halfway through because it just died on everybody. We were still in the stream and having a good old time, and I had to drop it and make a new one. I was not happy. But we had let's see, it was me and Dax, and then who joined us today? Lawyer Dog and Jack Cochran. It was a good conversation. We talked about some corpse humping and some pubic hair dye. It was a good time. Good time. Thank you, Snowstorm. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
That sounds like nonsense. I don't know who said that, but you're an idiot.
That sounds like internalized racism.
That's right. That's giving cover to white supremacy right there.
Apologist.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, exactly. You tell him, Satsu.
We read an everyday feminist article this morning.
Uh-oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. That it wasn't actually an article. It was the internalized whiteness school.
Oh, I wish there's a video for that. I want to see that.
Me too. Oh man, but it lists all the things, and it's sad. So I don't know if you know this or not, but everybody has internalized white supremacy in them because it's everybody, because it's what we hear all the it's actually, they actually say it's what we breathe.
Oh, the air we breathe. Yeah, like white supremacy is the air we breathe. I heard that comment on one of the videos I did a while back.
Terry Diamandis, thank you. I have a better dream than Snowstorm's 4 children will one day, or that Snowstorm's 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the content of their character, but by their ability to play video games. Yes, hear. And I only say that because I'm good at games. But then right before this, I was over on 2 Girls 1 Stream because Weibo had the night off, and SD had asked me to sit in, so I sat in with her, and then I came here, and I came here to ask Scribe, but what did you do on YouTube today?
Well, I did what I usually do. I started making little inroads into several different videos at once. I was still working on that panel discussion I talked about last night, but the more I watched the video, the less interesting it became after the introduction, because then they actually started talking about marketing stuff. And even though they do weave discussions about diversity into it, I was getting bored just listening. So I don't know if I'll just make a quick little clip show of the introductory stuff they did, which was just so blatantly nutball, because the moderator says things like, here's the demographics of the country. If only our audience looked the same. And then he goes to his first guest and he says, well, you check most of the boxes. And then asks him about his personal background. And the guy starts talking about how he just came out as gay and it was the best decision I could have made for my career. And I'm like, what?
It's not necessarily untrue.
You're the marketing director at Smirnoff. Okay. And then the next lady, though, said, I think we really have to be careful about making judgments about people without having all the information. Because a couple of years ago, I was in a conversation where somebody was talking to me and they were telling me that as a white woman, I just wouldn't be able to understand the minority perspective, except that I'm a Native American and grew up on a reservation. But they assumed things about me because of the way I look. And I was like, yeah, good point. I wonder what the moderator's thinking right now hearing that. After describing his panel as diverse, as in of color. And I'm like, okay. But anyway, so I was, I might set that one aside, but I found one today that is there to teach me about allyship. The greatest ship since the good ship Lollipop. And I did something I don't usually do. I listened to the entire video first, just sort of in the background as I was doing some work. And I have to go back to it, but you got two ladies talking to each other about how to promote allyship at the workplace. And I guess it's a regular series the host does. And she's talking to her guest. And near the end of it, the guest suggests, and I really have to go listen to this again because part of me thought I couldn't have just heard what I just heard. The lady suggested that if you happen to be someone in a company who has privilege, i.e. you are a white cis male, and you see something like a pay disparity with a female colleague, and you're in a position where you can have an effect on, pay and stuff like that, you might think about setting up tiered pay for things like race and gender and orientation. And I thought, are you insane? And I had to go back and check, who is this lady? And she's some, years-long professional. She was some executive at, God, I forget the name of the company, but it's a well-known company. And I thought, are you suggesting that companies need to set pay on the basis of race, gender, and or orientation? You're an idiot. That's illegal. Like, blatantly, there's not even a gray area illegal.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I'm going to be looking at that one a bit more closely. It's a 20-minute long deal. I can cut out quite a bit of chit chat that has nothing to do with the point of the discussion. But that portion alone that I caught, because some of it I zoned out for while I was working, makes me think there's some gold in here somewhere. And I really want to highlight who this lady is that she would suggest such a thing if I heard it correctly, because I want to make sure. But anyway, so that's what I've been working on.
I think it might be because they truly believe that that's what's happening on the other side. Like, they really think that when you walk into a place and you're white and you're getting ready to get a job, they're like, okay, well, you seem to be qualified, but your skin is beautifully white, so we're gonna toss an extra $3 per hour on there for you because we appreciate your whiteness. Like, they think that shit actually happened.
Well, yeah, but then so two wrongs make a right. Then I mean, if you think that it's actually, I mean, the whole statement again. And I'm couching myself here a little bit because I want to make sure because it was just so unbelievably insane a suggestion for a professional person to make. This didn't sound like some kind of crackpot. If her CV was correct, or her not her CV, she wasn't an academic, but if her job experience and what she was talking about her former positions as executive of this company and that company, I couldn't believe that someone in this country would suggest any such thing. I mean, that's usually what they're trying to sort of indicate in a lot of these diversity initiatives without really saying it.
Mhm.
But if you just came out and just said, yeah, you really need to structure your pay on the basis of, hey, if you're black, you should get a bump just because you're black or something. Anyway, so that's what I was looking at.
Well, it's funny that you asked that question. Does two wrongs make a right? But that links to something that I've been saying for a while now, and it's not. It hasn't and never has been about equality. Like, they want to do what they are doing. They want to become the new them. They want to replace the people who they feel like are doing these horrible things, and they want a chance to do it. It ain't about equality or even in a playing field. That's just a ruse. And it's been for a long time. They want to take over. They want that spot. They want the ability to do the things that they think other people are doing.
It's our turn.
Yep. Basically.
Guys, just a reminder, 7 Days to Die open server after this over on 2 Cents Plus. Don't forget to come and join us if you have the game on PC. If not, just come watch. It's a lot of fun. That'll wrap up our YouTube time, which brings us to the fucketries. You guys got some fucketry today?
A little bit. I saw somebody on the internet like making excuses for how they were going to like butt dial tweets or something.
I wasn't talking about butt dialing tweets. I was mentioning that my fingers were too big. I kept clicking the wrong things from my phone.
You're sensitive. I wasn't talking about you, Monkey.
Yes,
do you have a problem? Do you have a problem, Monkey?
Yes, you were.
Anyway, I
you actually did have some.
Sorry?
I said you actually did have some.
It's true.
See if you remember it.
Well, I do, but I'll get to that in a second. I just wanted to say that so Monkey put out a tweet today that said, I can't quote it in front of me because I don't have it in front of me, but it's something to the effect of, if I retweet anything today or anything odd today, don't pay attention because or something.
I said it wasn't necessarily intentional.
Right, it wasn't necessarily intentional. And see, the reason I'm bringing this up is because every time that I went back to look at this, I laughed so hard at my own joke. I think it's fucking hilarious. And so I put, if you or a loved one are showing signs of making excuses for their drug-addled behavior, call the National Drug Hotline at 1-888. And every time, and then so many people, I think it was Maddie, the news chick, took a screenshot and put it up there. It's just so perfect. It's so perfect, and I thought it was hilarious. All right, one of you guys do something else. I'm going to get mine together because I have a couple that I have to talk about here, and they're a little long.
And Satsu, you got any?
Like I said, I spent most of my day sleeping. I did see, like, I went back and looked at the comment section of some of the stuff that I had brought up previously because I still get notifications for some of that stuff, and I like to see like how things have developed since the last time I had seen the initial fucketry. And I can make a whole video out of the hilarious comments on that hipster Hawk one.
Oh yeah,
dude. That shit is too fun. These comments are ridiculous. But yeah, nothing too major. Just looking back at old stupid shit that I was already looking at previously.
There was one from. Oh, let me do this one real fast, and then we'll let you do it. Right before we went to air, Brian Krasenstein tweeted out, while Trump will spend 16 days at Mar-a-Lago bumping shoulders with billionaires, this is what Obama's doing. And it shows him at a kid's hospital, which is cool. Obama went to this kid's hospital, showed up, and delivered presents and stuff. That's great. Good for him. That is not what he did as president. As president, he went to Hawaii every year for his Christmas. And I actually posted a story for Mr. Brian, who I'm sure won't read it because he doesn't give a fuck, but about how Obama's 8 vacations to Hawaii cost taxpayers over $35 million combined, while he was hobnobbing with the rich and famous in fucking Hawaii. But so many people, man, this already has 2.3 thousand shares, 7,000 likes, because people don't actually pay any goddamn attention because nobody cares anymore. Sorry, go ahead, Scribe.
So a couple things that I had fun with today. Hillary Clinton made a tweet saying, Nevada just became the first state in the country to have a legislature that's majority women. Let's make it the first of many. And I said, so there's really nothing stopping women from achieving political power in this country. Just more salt in the wound, isn't it, Hillary?
Did you guys see the story like a week or so ago where she went and sold some 8th grade? No, she wasn't 8th grade. She was 8 years old. This 8-year-old girl who lost a school election to a boy.
No.
Yeah, I and even told I know how it feels, and sat and told this girl her whole story.
Oh God.
I'm like, you twat! You can't even just go there and just console. You had to make it about you still. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Let's see. The next one was someone named Rami Ismail, who I guess is like a video game developer or something, or an app developer. Twitter pro tip for today. If you're tweeting a joke that requires people to understand recent news, for example, that the next Xbox is reportedly codenamed Anaconda, because otherwise it might read like a sexist joke, it might be a good idea to not tweet that joke. And I said, Twitter pro tip for today. If your criticism of a joke relies on your own ignorance of pop culture references, and if you have a habit of reading between the lines of a cookbook, it might be a good idea to not tweet that criticism.
Yeah, I read that tweet because I responded to that one 2 years was much better. But what the fuck are you talking about? How dare even if it hadn't have been based on the Xbox One, if he was, because did you see the original tweet? It was a guy who says my anaconda don't want none. If you ain't got games, hun, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this guy's like, that could be seen as sex. You overly sensitive puss.
Yeah.
Like, you do realize that Nicki Minaj just remixed the fuck out of that song, right?
Oh
and,
my God.
It was like super popular for a long time.
And the only other thing, it's not really, I guess, criticism. Well, or it's not fucketry, I guess I should say. But the trailer for the new Hellboy movie came out.
I hate you for that because I hadn't seen it until I saw your tweet.
Oh man, so you guys can find this on the internet. It's all over the place right now. But I never collected the Hellboy comics. I knew of the character way back when. I really did like the Hellboy movies. The Golden Army was all right, as compared to the first one. It's still visual. I mean, Guillermo del Toro, just visual stuff is amazing. So they're both really fun movies to watch. But I really did enjoy them. And so when I heard they weren't going to do a third one and they're going to reboot, I was like, I like David Harbour from Stranger Things, etc., and other things that he's been in. But this trailer, absolutely nothing. This is what I said. I said, this doesn't resonate with me at all. Harbour's expressiveness is seriously flat. And I mean, if you watch the trailer and you listen to his acting, it's just nothing. There's no personality. It's very wooden. I didn't really get anything out of it. It doesn't portray a fun movie with washed out colors and a weak cover of Moni Moni. Now, I couldn't tell if that cover of Moni Moni in there was actually the Billy Idol version or not, because it seems like it was remixed.
It sounds like it is because it still sounds like him. If it's not, it is somebody who does a very good impersonation.
Yeah, and however they did it, I mean, if they took the original, like not the original, because Billy Idol's was a cover. Right. But if they took the Billy Idol version and they remixed it, they ruined it because it didn't sound very good. I didn't like the way they did it, but that's beside the point. And the humor didn't click at all. I came away with a very deflated feeling because I was really excited for this. I was like, okay, well, I liked Hellboy. I'm not going to judge it on the previous movies. Like it's a different take, a different characterization and everything. But setting all that aside, I came away feeling like nothing. I watched that one little Avengers Endgame trailer, and you get so pumped. You get so like, oh shit, what's going on? You get those chills down your spine kind of thing. Nothing here, just absolute blank. I watched it, was like, this looks generic. So, I mean, maybe another trailer will prove me wrong or something, but this trailer did nothing to get me excited for this movie. It looks ugly, like it's all blues and grays and like Christopher Nolanized, washed out colors. Whereas Guillermo del Toro was all about the visual spectacle and making everything very bright. You know, the differences between Hellboy and Abe Sapien and everybody else had their very color cues. This is just so. Anyway. That's it.
Let me get this super chat. Thank you, Miles. Hey guys, with SJWs going after the Simpsons Apu, is Dr. Hilbert, the Cosby-inspired character, next? Is he voiced by a white guy?
I don't know, but sure, why not? Yeah, and nothing's sacred anymore, so why not?
Well, that's what really got the Apu thing so much attention. Because remember, the guy who made the problem with Apu, his problem with Apu is that he wasn't allowed to voice, and they let a white guy do it. He goes into the it's a stereotype, but that stereotype would be fine if an Indian did it. Yeah, so that was his big issue. As for that trailer, Scribe, I watched it. I have very fond memories of the original Hellboy. I knew nothing of Hellboy when that movie came out.
Yeah,
watched it, loved it.
Great movie, really good.
Going back and watching it, it doesn't hold up as well. It's still a decent movie, but it doesn't hold up like it. But I still have those fond memories. And I watched this fucking trailer, and I couldn't help but think it's like they're trying so hard for that Deadpool comedy, and they're missing on every beat, every goddamn beat. Because these things should be funny, but like the part where somebody asks him if his arm does anything, and he goes, "Yeah." And then there's like a 5-second just flat blank spot. And then he goes, it smashes things really good.
Even that first part where he's getting out of the truck and they shoot at him, and he's like, no, wait, not me. I'm on the. I was like, okay, I'm not an expert in comic timing, but that wasn't it.
No, the whole thing is bad comic timing. And
yeah.
The other thing I got from this trailer is with everything you see there, unless this movie's like 2.5 hours long, it is going to be just crammed.
Yeah.
Just crammed. I mean, we see several different planes of being, for lack of another word.
Yeah.
Plus, you have him in the modern world where there's going to be way too much. And yeah, Random American, what cop would do that? Guy gets out of that car and they shoot him immediately.
The other thing, especially since you see him walking around in the downtown streets with people and nobody's reacting weirdly to him.
Nope.
Nobody's reacting weirdly to him in one scene, but then he gets out of that truck and the other gets shot at. The other thing that doesn't make any sense, one of the things I liked about the first Hellboy was that the FBI agent character is basically the audience's avatar for the movie. And Hellboy and the paranormal division or whatever, they're already established. They already exist in the world. From the looks of this, Hellboy is being introduced to that as an outside agent. When he was in the comic books, he was raised into it, basically. I don't get either what the utility is of changing that part of the story around or how they're going to do it to make it work and not be just like exposition upon exposition for the first half of the movie. So anyway, yeah. And yeah, especially with the monster marching down London or whatever, I thought, don't go for the huge blue light in the sky, big stakes in the first outing. You have to build up to that. Come on, do something small stakes. That's what the first Hellboy kind of did a little bit better at.
I will say that dragon is fucking cool.
Yeah, I mean, visually it looked interesting, but the makeup on David Harbour's face, his performance, I kind of felt the same way watching it, like I felt after watching the first two Captain Marvel trailers. Just sort of underwhelming, just like not exciting. It looks like generic movie. So anyway,
I haven't seen it, by the way.
Satsu doesn't care.
If you watch the original I think you'll be really, really disappointed. But just watch that trailer, you'll be like, huh?
Yeah.
The remake Ghostbusters movie had better comedic timing than this one.
Oh, least so far as the trailers tells us. I mean, it could be just a horrible trailer, but if it was what was portrayed in that trailer is accurate to what we see in the movie, I'm not excited. That's all.
I'm speaking strictly of the comedic timing there, guys. Because it is so off in that trailer. Holy fuck! It is bad. It is bad.
Hey guys, I will be right back.
Okay.
Cool, dude. Cool. That leaves us with a little bit of time for deep topic and something we didn't talk about. The crime bill. The crime bill passed. At least in the Senate.
Oh, was the lynching thing a part of that, or was that separate?
It's separate.
Oh, I thought it was. Oh, my bad. Okay.
Because the crime bill passed 78-12.
Okay.
Where the other one passed 100%. What the crime bill does is it like lowers where it used to be 3 strikes and you're out, 3 strikes and it's life. It changes it from 3 strikes to life to 3 strikes to 25 years.
Interesting.
Shit. I had that pulled up and then I accidentally closed the window. Senate bill passes bipartisan criminal justice bill. The Senate overwhelmingly approved on Tuesday the most substantial changes in a generation to the tough on crime prison and sentencing laws that ballooned the federal prison population and created a criminal justice system that many conservatives and liberals view as costly and unfair, which is true. I'm sorry. Hang on a second. So sorry, guys. While Scribe was talking about Hellboy, I was sneezing like a motherfucker, and it has messed up my throat and my nose.
Uh-oh.
The First Step Act would expand job training and other programs aimed at reducing recidivism rates among federal prisoners. It also expands the early release program and modifies sentencing laws, including mandatory minimum sentences for non-violent drug offenders to more equitably punish drug offenders. Jesus, fuck, monkey. But the legislation falls short of benchmarks set by a more expansive overhaul proposed by Congress during Obama's presidency. Now, this still has to go through the House, and then Trump has to sign it, and he said he would. The House says they're going to pass it, so hopefully they won't fuck with it, and it just goes. Because, guys, the whole 3 strikes and you're out thing, I get the idea. You know what I mean? Crack was a big problem at the time when the 3 strikes you're out rule went. And I remember everybody cheering that. I really do. But I don't remember, people talking about, hey, some dude's just selling pot. He's going to end up in jail for life over that, which is what's happened with a lot of this shit. Buy cold meds. You got the cash. Thank you, Randy. It's not that. It's Little Butt was over this weekend or last weekend, and she was sick. And I think hers was just sinuses as well. And she was kind enough to pass that on to her grandma and me. How do you feel about mandatory sentencing?
I don't like it. I mean, just on principle kind of thing, because removing a judge's discretion and locking them into things where they can't balance the nature of the circumstances against the crime. I've heard too many times of people like being completely like the 3 strikes you're out. There's been so many stories like this, but I remember specifically there was a guy who technically committed a felony by stealing a bike, and he went to prison for life after that. Because that was 3 strikes you're out. Judge didn't have any room to maneuver. You commit a felony. It's your 3rd felony. You're done. And I'm like, no, that's not justice. That's not justice. You want to sentence him for stealing a bike? You sentence him for stealing a bike. You don't sentence him for life because he stole a bike, and that just happens to be his 3rd felony. It's not proportional, and that's what I get worried about when you tie judges' hands around the technical truth of a crime rather than allowing them to actually adjudicate a sentence and justice based on the facts of the crime. That's my broad answer to that question.
Real quick, Evil One said he sent a story to my Twitter. Send that when you send me a story, make sure you hit either the hashtag MSS News or MIT AM. That's the Monkey in the Morning one. I understand the idea behind mandatory or minimum sentencing.
Mhm.
I get it because we do have times where judges just seem to like lose their fucking minds and be like, "Oh yeah, you can go, no problem." However, I agree with you with it. It's one of those things where sometimes you got to take the good with the bad. I think when you remove the judge's discretion like that, you end up with these fucking retarded cases where somebody goes to jail forever over nothing, over fucking nothing. And I know our attitudes on marijuana have changed a lot. So, I mean, kind of judging, what was this back in 94? I forget when they passed the whole 3 strikes you're out. I know it was around
it was
that
something
time.
like that, yeah.
So judging it by that time is a little different. But even at that time, I can't see sending a fucking pothead to prison for the rest of his life because you found him with an ounce on him or whatever it takes to become a fucking felony. It's fucking pot.
Yeah.
And one of the best things I think Obama did was to get rid of private federal prisons. Because it just became, hey, we got to fill these beds so we can make money. And I don't want to say that's why more stringent laws were passed, but I feel like it might have helped a little bit.
Yeah.
And putting people in prison shouldn't be a profitable thing.
Yes.
It should be we have to do this because you made us, not hey, let's get everybody. It's the same reason I don't like police speed traps. I understand why they do it, but I don't know. I don't like the idea of we had several stories around here. There's a town very close to here who got in a lot of trouble, and the state actually stepped in and told them no, they couldn't do it anymore because their entire budget came from speed traps.
Yeah.
And we're talking a town of less than 500 people, and they had an overflow of cash. And what they were doing was they were hitting people with out of state plates. They're right on a highway. So and this is, I think there's a place in Pennsylvania that got in trouble for this too. They would only hit people with out of state plates.
Oh, jeez.
And just hit them with these fucking enormous fees. And yeah, we need something. I agree with what Congress is doing. I think they need to change that a little bit. The 3 strikes in 25 years still seems like a bit much, depending on the infraction.
I came up with a great analogy.
Sure.
Oh well, okay. I might be, inflating my own ego here, but first off, if you have mandatory minimums, why even call them judges anymore?
Exactly.
And secondly, here's my brilliant analogy. The wheels of justice should not be placed on rails.
Oh, that is a good one.
You like that? I thought that was good. Yes. Anyway.
Serenity says she wants to post a link. Go ahead. I don't mind. And Disturbing Zen says, look into civil forfeiture. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's actually a plot line about that in The Shield, Monkey, when you get around to watching it. I think it's in season 4 or something. Anyway.
No, I'm gearing up to watch it.
We got to figure out how to watch it together. I really, really want to watch it with you. It's at least a little bit, if only like the pilot or something, because it's
yeah, I'll look into Rabbit. I may watch it without you and then bring
fine.
you in.
That's fine.
Because I was actually going to watch it today after we got back from the store, dude. I was beat the fuck down.
Yeah.
And I tried sitting in here and starting to read news stories. I can't. So I went and laid down for a little while, and I was gonna watch it while I was laying down, but Lady Monkey was watching Criminal Minds. Okay, I'll
That's
watch
fine.
it later.
Well, I mean, if you end up watching it without me, just let me know, and then I'll refresh myself by watching the first episode, and we can talk about it.
Cool, cool. And with that, guys, in the spirit of Christmas, we're going to give you an extra minute for chat time. Questions, comments, concerns, throw them into the chat now. We'll do our best to pay attention to them and answer them. And there's no shortage of criminals for prison. You're not wrong, Faithless. I mean, there's always people. There's criminals everywhere. However, when our prisons are overflowing and a lot of them are non I don't like the term what is it, non-violent offender, because if you steal something from somebody, that's non-violent technically. If you just found it in their yard and took it, I still think you should go to prison for that. But when we're throwing people in prison for the rest of their goddamn lives over pot or a simple theft like that, then we have a problem. If we have no shortage of criminals, then let's not punish people so harshly over such minor infractions. Toasted says, Ranting Monkey, why does private for the most part do better than public? How do you mean? Do you mean private enterprise versus public enterprise?
Or private prisons versus public prisons.
Oh, if you're meaning that, because they're in it for the money.
Yeah.
And it depends on what you mean by doing better. They have just as many riots and shit in the private prisons as they do in the public ones.
Yeah.
Speaking of what, did you private versus public? That reminded me. Senator Warren has suggested that the United States should start manufacturing its own generic drugs.
Like the government?
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, she's jumping straight into let's go straight into socialism for all the jokes or stuff about, well, this isn't really socialism, or that would be definite socialism.
Well, I don't disagree that drug prices need to be reassessed in this country as compared to what you can pay in other countries, because pharmaceutical costs are ridiculous. My parents, who are retired, I hear about what their prescription costs are. I just, seriously. And then I look up the same thing in like Canada, and it's like a 30% reduction or something. And it's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. If we need to increase competition to bring the prices down, I'm all for that. But putting drug manufacturing into the hands of the government, I can't even imagine how much extra taxpayer money would have to go into actually making that happen. Because, I mean, for as much money as the pharmaceutical companies make, they invest a shit ton of money into research and development and scientists and everything else that I don't know if that's a burden we as the taxpayer would want to take on if we can just find a way to bring the prices down through other means.
Well, that's why she said generic, because generic drugs are after they've already lost. I think it's the first 7 years, or at least that's what it used to be. The first 7 years after a drug was made, there couldn't be a generic of it, unless the company who made it made one. Because they had an outright, we own this. And then after that, other people could start manufacturing it. What they need to do is there were a lot of Republicans who talked about this for a while. Open it up so we can buy our drugs across the borders. And everybody was on board. And then they got into power and they're like, oh, we didn't really mean that. Like, you guys are all about competition. Let us have some. Toasted Network says Candace Owens spoke to people that run private prisons and debunked all the myths people have on them. One, that's not a question, dude. Please don't put question marks behind something that's not a question. We will do our best to answer your statements too. And I don't trust anything Candace Owens says.
What monkey? That's racist.
Angela says, thank you so much for your magnanimous generosity. You're welcome. That extra minute meant a lot to you, didn't it? Joseph Sorrow says, would YouTube shut down a stream for copyright if it was a private and it was you three watching a movie together? Yes, they would.
Yep. I mean, if it was if you're talking about just like us watching it in our own homes and talking to each other while we watch it, no. But if we were like trying to stream it to each other, yes.
Yeah, they would. And it would be an immediate thing. Yeah, they can get you for copyright even if you're not showing it to the public.
Mm-hmm.
What's this here? When is the next movies you should have watched? We got to get back to that. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know. I wish I had an actual answer for you. Private enterprise, not private prisons. Private does better because their whole job is to make money. And when it's a public enterprise, their job is to try to save as much money as they can theoretically, and they're not in it for the profit. Again, theoretically.
Yeah.
Let's see. Somebody asked if you were coming to meet me, Scribe, and they said they think you should. I don't know who it was.
I'd like to at some point.
Yeah.
I don't have any immediate plans to, but at some point in the future, I'd like to meet Monkey and Lady Monkey and see Grand Monkey and Pumpkin and everybody and say hello and take up space on their couch for a night or two.
It was so cute yesterday. She Pumpkin was just being such a pain in the butt for her mom. So I went up there and I picked her up and she just quieted right down for me.
Oh.
I am the baby whisperer.
You got the magic touch with the little babies.
I don't know what it is. Me and babies have always gotten along very well together.
Well, you're both so childish.
Pumpkin's mom said that I'm just really soft for her to lay on. I'm like, are you calling me fat?
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like, what? You
she should have met me like 3 years ago before I lost everything. So what if somebody vandalizes your property? Would that be considered a non-violent crime? Asked Lindsay. When people say non-violent crime, they're usually talking about somebody taking drugs themselves or selling drugs.
Public drunkenness.
Yeah.
I think of things like that where it's like, well, it doesn't really hurt anybody. They're just doing something annoying, but it's technically a crime or a ordinance violation or something like that.
Because technically, you're right. Vandalism would be non-violent, but it is it hurts somebody else. Where, yeah, being drunk in public, unless you hit somebody, I mean, it's just you being an ass in public. That's why I don't like that phrase. Non-violent can mean so many things.
Yeah.
But still handle things. Scribe Light, who would win, Ghost Rider or Hellboy?
Well, that would be an interesting matchup because Ghost Rider is an avatar of the Spirit of Vengeance, which is technically kind of like a demon. And he's got Hellfire, but then Hellboy would be immune to it. So it would basically come down to, and Ghost Rider is likewise immune to Hellfire for the most part. So it would come down to basically just sort of like a test of strength. And if Hellboy's got the right hand of doom going, Ghost Rider's going to have a tough time. Now, if Ghost Rider gets the pen and stare on Hellboy, I'd be very curious to know, given Hellboy's personal history, if we're going off of the comic books, how phased he would be if that actually affected him. So I don't know. It'd be an interesting matchup. Couldn't say who'd win. Basically, it'd probably come down to whoever is writing the thing and decides.
Backscan says someone starts stealing packages off your front step and you decide to set a trap for them. What do you do?
What do you do? Well, you set up a camera to get them caught on film. And I've seen some videos where people like set up bait boxes for people when they know they're stealing stuff, and they'll like tie a wire to it so they try to run away with it and they trip over and fall over themselves.
Yeah.
Or it busts open into a glitter bomb or something. But yeah, if you know it's going to happen, get as much information on the perpetrator as you can, and if you are going to set a trap for them, make sure it's non-violent and non-injurious. And legal, yeah, non-injurious and legal, and you're not yourself going to end up getting sued or arrested for assault or maiming somebody or something, or using an explosive device or whatever.
Moonshock is going to bed, so he's got a headache and can't stay till the end. Thanks for watching, and I hope your headache goes away.
Bye, Mooney.
Duck Dog says, seize the means of production. That's rule 1 of communism, ranting like, yeah, it's Warren. What do you expect? Why can't we import from other countries if you're talking about drugs? That's because of the FDA.
Yes, FDA.
The Food and Drug Administration has to approve all drugs that come through our country. And they claim that if you get the ones from Canada, you don't know that you're getting the exact dosages that you're supposed to. You know what? I'm willing to risk it. Yeah, my I don't know if I want to tell that story. I'm in an argument with my insurance company right now because they don't like the amount of drugs my doctor has prescribed me.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, for a normal person, I have a 3-month supply that I take in a month. And it's still well within the prescription guidelines, but my insurance company is arguing that it's too much and that they won't pay for it. I'm like, you fucking assholes. Were you surprised when you heard the voice behind the elephant? Asked Toasted Network. Oh yeah, he was on SDA stream. No, but I don't generally guess a voice for you guys, but you have a pleasant voice. I don't know if that answers the question right. Are we streaming on Kwanzaa? I don't even know when Kwanzaa is, so
it's
yes.
the 26th, I think.
Look, I have no plans to miss any time between now and then, or between now and the holiday, so I'll be here. Whether these guys will or not, I don't know, but I'll be around.
I'll be here. I already did my Christmas thing, so unless something else comes up, I'll be around.
Randy wants to know if the 3 of us are going to meet in real life. I would love to meet these guys. I wanted to meet Satsu this summer, but I just could not make the trip to my father-in-law's house. We were going to stop by his Satsu's and then head over. And if we plan a trip like this next summer, and Satsu wants, I will do my best to make the trip.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Because Satsu's good people.
I try to be.
Tosa said my question was on enterprise, not prison. Yeah, we addressed that. And guys, I'm scrolled up because again, you guys are really engaged tonight, and I love it. But that means you guys are hearing me about 10 minutes after you ask your questions. So I apologize for that. I'm trying to catch all the questions though. Several smartasses asked if this is a question.
Har.
Oh, look, the whole thing with the question marks, guys, it's just it's an easy way for us to get questions, which tend to have better, I don't want to say better answers because that's of course, but potential for discussion. So do exclamation points count as chat marks now? No. Chat marks are question marks. When will Tim Pool swallow the damn red pill? He won't. He's a liberal.
He doesn't have to. So.
And there's nothing wrong with being a liberal. I just wish he'd stop with that fucking hate speech bullshit. Scribe Light, are you streaming on Christmas?
So far as I know. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that might throw that off is my sister was talking about maybe she and I getting together for Christmas, actual Christmas Day, since we already did our family Christmas elsewhere. But if I did do that, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't go into the evening. So for all I know, right now, I am streaming on Christmas.
Angry Illinoisan asks, what was your first diagnosis regarding pain, Monkey? It was originally just diagnosed as a herniated disc pushing into my spine. And when they cut away the bad disc and put the nice little titanium plate in there, they expected everything to be fine. Unfortunately, it was apparently in that position too long, and the bruise is permanent. Are you guys going to play Fear the Night?
What is Fear the Night?
No idea what that is.
Sounds like a vampire game or something, or a zombie game.
Ranting Monkey, what do you think of a system structured as follows? Small family-centered communities within democratic states, within Republican nations, all under a global federation. I don't like the global federation part.
Sounds
I
like
don't have
Star
any-
Trek on a small level.
Yeah, I don't think one size fits all. I mean, let other nations act how they want to act and leave us the fuck alone.
One size certainly doesn't fit all in my case.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
BG asks, Ranting Monkey, when is the next normal video? Let me put, I like you, BG, even though you're an ass to me, but I will say, don't hold your breath. It's coming. I just don't know when. Three-sided coin says, should I buy this Jeep? I don't know what Jeep you're looking at, but our
No.
Jeep, which was a Jeep Liberty, is it saved my wife and daughter's life when they spun, or my wife rolled it on the highway. So
Can you make it a moral question? Is it right to buy this Jeep? That'd make it much more interesting.
Is it right to buy this Jeep? I don't know.
Is it morally correct that I buy this Jeep?
Which of you are streaming on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day?
These they fall on. I don't know.
New Year's Eve is on Monday, so that would be Satsu, and New Year's Day is on a Tuesday. That would be Scribe.
I get Christmas and New
you get them both.
Year's. Yeah, so yeah, conceivably I will, because even if I end up having some pepper jacks the night before, I'll be sober by the time we get to stream time on the 1st.
Yeah, pay attention to our Twitters. If you guys don't follow us on Twitter, by the way, all of our links are below. I don't say that very often, but in my description, I have Scribe's channel and his Twitter, Satsu's channel and his Twitter, as well as 2 Cents Plus, my channel and Twitter, as well as the breakdown of what days we're on where. So make sure you guys check that out and that you're following all of us on Twitter, because that is the best way to find us, because YouTube is fucking retarded.
Yeah.
It makes no goddamn sense that it is easier to find us on fucking or on Twitter than it is on YouTube. Makes no sense, but it's true. Scribelight, have you seen the live action Aladdin movie teaser trailer?
The teaser trailer? No, I've seen the photos from the magazine cover and some stills.
The teaser trailer didn't have much in it.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of the Disney live action remakes, so I don't know what else to say other than Aladdin's looking a little old to be the teenager as portrayed in the film, the original.
Well, it looks doesn't Jasmine look a little old too?
Well, there was a video that was posted on Twitter by I think it was like an account called like Pimp Yoda or something, where Yoda says, looks like Mia Khalifa. And I'm like, yeah, she kind of does look like a porn star, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It seems and it doesn't seem necessary. Just re-release the original in the theaters. You know how many people would go and take their kids to see the original Aladdin cleaned up and put back in the theaters? They'd pay buco bucks. It'd be going on for weeks, and Disney would make a whole ton of money without having to make a brand new film, and it'd be a huge profit, and everybody would love it. Why they're doing these live action things? Why they're wasting the money to do them? I don't understand. It's telling the exact same story you've already told, and you did it well. They're masterpieces, practically. You know, Aladdin, Lion King, some of your best movies ever. Just put them back in the theaters. You know how much money Star Wars made when they re-released the originals back in the theaters with a special edition? I mean, yeah, they spent some money to clean them up and put the special effects in there, which mostly were not necessary. But people flock to that just to be able to see Star Wars on the big screen. Just do that. I don't understand.
Toasted asks, when will Jimmy Dore go full Dave Rubin? He won't.
No, he's what little I've seen of Jimmy in the last couple of years, he's changed a bit, but then he also spit on Alex Jones and shit not that long ago. So yeah, he's in for life on TYT.
Satsu, do you celebrate Kwanzaa?
No.
There you go.
I answered that. All right.
Why not? What's wrong with you?
Well, I saw it in chat a few times, so I wanted to get it out there. Are you glad that Trump is having troops leave Syria? Am I glad? Honestly, yeah. That's a shitstorm of somebody else's making. Our troops shouldn't have been over there in the first place, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm glad he's pulling them out of there.
I'm wary of the repercussions in the long term, but I can't argue with taking our people out of harm's way if they don't absolutely need to be there in general, I guess. So I don't know. It's a tough one.
Satsu, are you going to is that OhioCon?
OhioCon.
Are you going?
I don't have any plans to go to any cons. For the next like 8 months, we're gonna be in a financial spiral because there's gonna be like moving and because of certain situations in our house or our apartment that we got going on now, we're gonna have to get rid of probably everything we own and start over from scratch when we move, except for obviously our electronics and stuff. So I don't plan on doing anything expensive for a while.
Jenna says, I spent New Year's with you guys last year. Didn't we go actually at midnight last year?
I remember we did the countdown.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we started later, but of course we didn't really have this our scheduled format set up at that point. So you want to? Well, we did midnight on the East Coast. That's what we did.
Yeah, midnight on the East Coast.
Yeah, midnight. So we went an extra hour, or we started an hour late. I forget which one it was, but I mean, if you guys want to do that, fine by me.
I'm cool. I mean, you guys know me. I'm up for a stream.
Yeah.
Evil One says, if you could nuke one country, who would it be?
None.
Yeah, see, I don't like what North Korea is and what they do, but I wouldn't want to kill all their people because of that asshole in charge. And that's the closest I could come would be North Korea.
Yeah, because most of the people there are Stockholm syndrome victims and or just essentially captives to that that government. So they're not really. They've either been brainwashed or they really don't have any other option but to exist in that place. So.
Jacqueline Dust says, Lady Monkey rolled the Jeep. Yep, she did.
Oh, that's yeah.
And all it did was smash up one of the sides a little bit. Took off the side mirror and dented in the doors a little. That fucking thing was on its hood and didn't dent that at all.
Wow.
Yeah. And it bounced too, because you could see in the snow where it was. It went onto its onto the passenger side, onto the hood, missed the other side, and landed on the wheels again. So yeah, they were very lucky that that was all that happened. If it had happened another 200 feet forward, they would have actually went down a huge embankment.
Oh boy.
So yeah, that was a scary day. Scary day. Sorry guys, I'm reading through here. You guys, I love when you guys are so active. It makes my night. How does a person that does not have a Twitter and does not want one follow you guys? Make sure you click that bell.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to tell you.
Subscribe to our channels, click the bell, and just be aware of our schedule.
Or you can join me on Monkey's Discords.
Oh yeah, there's that too. You have Discord.
But I wager if you don't want a Twitter, you probably don't want a Discord either.
I never put my videos in the Discord. I know sometimes it gets put in there. I don't know who does it. I forget. Is it you, Nuts? I know Nuts does it for you, Satsu.
Yeah, my viewers usually handle it for me.
Shroom says, serious question. Why should I have any sympathy for career criminals? There's people aren't caught after committing their first 3 crimes. I'm not telling you should have sympathy for them. I'm saying that there should be common sense in sentencing. I mean, literally, when you're talking about some of these career criminals, these 3 strikes and you're out guys, they're guys who just got caught with too much pot on them. That's not somebody who's going out and robbing banks or shooting people or beating up old ladies in the street. It's a guy who wants to get high. And yes, it is a crime. You don't have to have sympathy for him, but I would think that him getting arrested for the third time with a dime bag in his pocket, you wouldn't think, hey, this motherfucker needs to go to jail for the rest of his life over that. Since Satsu totally ignored me, did you watch the Leon Noir trailer? Oh, that was somebody else. That was
Leon
the cynical
Noir.
Lindsay. Satsu, did you watch that?
Weirdly enough, I saw your comment and I went to go watch it, but I never actually verbally responded to your. So yes, now I've seen it.
Peter says they made a 30th anniversary Die Hard Christmas edition. Just thought you should know that. I still haven't watched Die Hard yet this year. I will. I finally got to watch Christmas Vacation yesterday, and it was glorious. Me and Pumpkin watched that together. And the child likes TV. We noticed this very early on. She was crying when she was like 2 days old, and her mom was watching Grey's Anatomy and trying to calm her down. And I picked her up, and it just happened the way I turned her, she could see the TV, and she was mesmerized.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. I don't know why. Is Squish okay?
Be good.
No, she's been coughing a lot. Is she getting sick again?
Most of those coughs were me.
Oh, okay. I don't care about you.
Well, that's good to know.
No, I mean, I do care about you, but I care about Squish because I don't want her. You can take care of yourself. We got to take care of our women. So,
What a sexist thing to say.
you know what? I'm okay with it. Ranting Monkey, why are you losing subscribers? Because I haven't made videos in a while. That's just it.
Also, YouTube did that little purge thing recently too. So,
oh yeah, with the purge, I lost. It was 59 people that day. But I lose like 1 or 2 a day just because I haven't been making videos. I could reverse that trend, but
Monkey, did they make Shadows default on 7 Days to Die?
I think so.
I don't like it.
But they've also made it so that it runs a lot better.
That's what I'm looking at because I got it on almost full settings and it's running pretty smooth, but I still don't want Shadows.
Now that Jim moved to Stream Me, will he also stream on YouTube as well, or just there? Probably just on there, but he'll have there'll still be the archives over here on YouTube. Yeah, did you see his first stream, Scribbles or Satsu?
No.
Apparently, it was the other day, and yeah, I missed it, so I have to go through and I don't know if he archives his like the Ralph Retort does, but. Why am I a Chargers fan? Because I grew up in, well, the first 7 years of my life were spent in San Diego. That's where I fell in love with football, and that's my team. Have been ever since.
False alarm, I found it.
After church every Sunday, we would go to this place, a sandwich shop in San Diego called Submarina, and they had this little Charger helmet radio, and I always wanted that damn thing. I thought it looked so cool. It was the navy blue with the bolts. Ah, love it. What else do we have here? God damn it, just jumped. Random says, which Jim? Mr. Mediker. Mediker's over on streaming now. Monkey, why didn't you comment on my wife's mother joke when you said you were a motherfucker? I didn't see it. But I'm not just a motherfucker. I'm a grandmotherfucker. Pick the 49ers for a win or two. Or couldn't pick the 49ers for a win or two. My older brother was a 49ers fan. My younger brother is a Raiders fan. We picked up the whole California coast. And part of it started, my dad was a Chargers fan, mom was a Raiders fan, and they would have their little rivalry every time because twice a year those teams play each other. And I guess I just always picked dad's team, and my little brother always picked mom's team. Woo, Raiders. Yeah, they're having a hell of a year, aren't they? Jesus. Yeah, the Raiders are having a bad year, guys. What are they? 2-10, 2-11, some shit like that. Hey Satsu, thoughts on Attack on Junior High?
I don't know what that is.
There you go. And with that, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up here. By the time I'm finished, you'll still miss my voice, but we will be done. Chat, thank you guys so much for the donations tonight. I cannot tell you how much that helps, especially this time of year. And thank you just for coming by, for hitting that like button, and for sharing our stuff. You guys are our best advertisement out there because YouTube doesn't want to do it. They're too busy promoting unknown people like Will Smith and Ariana Grande. Satsu, Scribe, thank you guys so much for joining me. Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Guys, don't forget, come watch us over on 2 Cents Plus. We'll be over there in just a few minutes. You can also join us if you have 7 Days to Die on the PC and are playing Alpha 17. But with that, guys, we got to go over there. So we'll see you later. Thank you so much for watching. Your lives make me sad. We'll see you next time.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
guys.
You guys were like in perfect unison there.
That's right.
Occasionally.
I should make
Wavelength.
that a song. Bye, guys. Bye, guys. Bye, everybody.